Hello fellow gamers, today we're going to be talking about these little things right here. They're X-Trayz by Games Trayz. Now this is a review and I kind of got to do a little bit of a disclaimer here because Games Trayz pays to be a sponsor on our playthrough shows. So we actually have these on the table all the time, but this review is not sponsored by Games Trayz. So I want to make sure everybody knows that. This is my actual opinion about these little things, and well, you're gonna have to see whether I like them or not ahead. Now let me give you a quick little bit of background on what we were using before. So these are what we were using before. They're like little glass dishes here, and they did a really good job. I really liked them. You could always see the components in them. It was really easy to grab everything out of here. So whenever we got sponsored by Games Trayz, I was always reluctant to have something like this on the table because these worked just so well for me and I really liked these. However, I really enjoyed the fact that, one, they come in different styles. Like this one here has 3 little slots in it. So for me, having products on my table, not just for my playthroughs, as well as me playing games with other people, it was nice to be able to actually have these out on the table and put several different tokens in here and maybe place multiples of these out on the table for people so people weren't reaching across the table. The other thing that came to mind for me was durability. How durable can one of these little plastic containers be? I mean, honestly, it's like it's a piece of plastic, you know? And I was really reluctant to use it because it was a piece of plastic, which I know sounds really silly because we use pieces of plastic in board games all the time, from meeples to inserts, like that's what we use. But I really appreciated all of the engineering and insight that went into creating these products. It wasn't just something to hold your pieces on a table. It was something that they wanted to make that was going to not only hold your pieces, but be able to be tossed around, be able to have heavy objects put on them, be able to have many things put in them and not get crushed and not break. So I was really impressed by that and the level of detail that they took, not only engineering that, but making sure to pick the right plastics and the right structures in order to make that thing happen for all of you at home. Let's talk about the differences. I'm just going to compare the two. The ease of getting the components out of these is super nice. The wells are particularly angled for your fingers versus these here, which are also nice, but they're a little too deep. So Games Trayz wins out on that one. The next item on the list is stability. I can't tell you how many of these have already broken. We've probably been using these here for a few years now, and we've probably gone through like 4 or 5 of them just from accidents happening where they fall off the table. We've had the Games Trayz now for 6 months or so, and of course this is plastic. I've never broken these, and these have been tossed all over the place and like probably treated very poorly. I'll throw these across the room if needed like a frisbee and they're totally fine, structurally sound, like super easy. And the other thing that I use these for that I don't think a lot of people usually do, and that is holding little tiny cards. For me, if I can put anything in any one of these sort of bowls just to make it easier so they're not falling all over the place and I don't have to worry about discarding things and stuff, I will put it in any sort of bowl. These are actually the perfect size for any sort of small card, because if you have those little tiny cards for like your X-Wing game, or I mean, I can't think of the other games right now, but there's plenty of games like Rice Busters and stuff like that, miniature style games where you have these tiny little cards and they're such a pain to like move around the table, and they're usually damaged cards and you're trying to shuffle them, pick them up, and they're getting thrown everywhere. Like, these worked out really well for that. They actually fit perfectly in here. The other thing that Games Trayz does that I have to say that these absolutely do not do is holding miniatures. I never thought I would say that, but some of the games that I've gotten recently have a lot of miniatures, like Imperial Assault. And those are not miniatures that I'm probably going to, in my life, paint because I have so many games with miniatures in them. but I also don't want them bent. That's a huge thing. I don't want them bent. Like, I wish I still had Zombicide so I could test to see if these large wells would hold, how many zombies would be held in these wells, because it's so nice to be able to pack these, not heavily where you're going to bend anything, but enough where they just all lay in there. You put this closed, and then you know that all of your miniatures are actually going to be really well protected. Like, they're not going to move around. There's going to be things that are going to be placed on this, and they're not going to get crushed. Like, that was the one thing that I think Game Trayz did that I was actually really surprised with when using these, because it was outside of my zone. It was something that I didn't think about until I had everything in front of me. And when I did it, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, this is so genius. I love this idea right now. Like, you don't even know how many problems that is solved. The other thing I wanted to do for these, just to kind of show you how structurally sound these were, is I wanted to do a weight test. So I took this from the doctor's stash, and I told him I could possibly crush one of these, because I'm just going to basically fill this up with the maximum amount of weight that I can put on this and see if it just like stays intact in one piece. That's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna bring that to all of you, and we're gonna see how that all adds up. I have to say, I am pleasantly surprised with the amount of weight that can be put on one of these little guys. It's very impressive, I'm gonna say. And it was a really fun test to do, so I hope all of you out there really enjoyed this test. As my final statement for all of this, again, this is an unsponsored video by Game Trayz. This is 100% my true opinion. I would love to use these over any sort of other game component holder. I love having these on hand, so I can throw components in here and then easily toss them back in bags. That's just how I like setting up my games whenever I play them, because I feel like it's very easy to get on and off the table. These are items I will probably be purchasing for myself to put in some of my games, because it's just really easy to pull these out and just have them in there. Like, I'm insanely impressed with the versatility of these. So I get a, if you want a star count, like I guess like 5 out of 5 stars and 6 out of 5 stars for exceeding my expectations of weight capacity to be put on these things. Other than that, if you are new to this channel, make sure to like and subscribe below. Ring that bell because we do plenty of live stuff. And we want to see all of your lovely faces in our live chat because we love talking to all of you out there. And you also don't want to miss all of the content that we're going to be putting out because we talk specifically about Kickstarters. And you don't want to miss out on what Kickstarters are coming up. Other than that, I want to say adieu to all of you. We'll see you later. Bye.